Hello again, classy people, this is Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and this week I'm reviewing Broforce. Longtime viewers and readers of my content might recognize today's review. Back when Broforce was in early access, I took a look at it, and even at such a basic level, the game impressed me enough to make it onto my Best of 2014 list. So now that it's finally complete, does Broforce continue to impress, or does it fall short of the mark? Let's take a look. When evil threatens the world, it's up to Broforce to protect it. Who are Broforce, you may ask? Broforce is an underfunded, overpowered paramilitary organization that specializes in excessive force and over-the-top damage, consisting of the biggest badasses the world has ever seen. Though they come off as a bit meat-headed and maybe overly patriotic, Broforce are the heroes we need in this time of fear and danger. So, while Broforce may not have the most complex story or the most satisfying character development, it does offer a fair amount of humor and unpredictability that many games are lacking these days. Despite the overall simplicity of the game's plot, it had enough twists and turns to keep me invested, as well as plenty of surprising additions to the team that hooked me into playing just a little bit longer each time. The game's detailed presentation certainly helps to keep the game interesting for the duration. The varied and colourful levels are a joy to blast your way across, and the combination of simple sprites and detailed portrait art give the bros a fantastic sense of character. On top of that, the splash screens that announce when a bro has joined the team are exceptional pieces of art that have a unique and memorable style. Adding to Broforce's memorable charm is the excellent sound design. Usually you'll trek along to the sound of military-style marching drums, but once you reach the end of each level, a face-melting guitar solo begins to shred as you escape the enemy's exploding base. Other sound effects, such as enemy screams and explosions, are pitch perfect. Special mention goes to the announcer who counts down the start of each level and laments your loss when you die. The guttural, over-the-top yelling exemplifies Broforce in a single voiceover.
3, 2, 1, go!
Broforce is a side-scrolling platformer with a heavy focus on shooting bad guys until they're deader than dead. Simplicity is key here as you take the fight to the enemy while saving POWs to add more heroes to your army. The base gameplay is satisfying and fun, as shooting enemies results in a mass of red pixels smeared across where their bodies once were, and traversing the environment is made interesting through the use of wall jumping and highly disruptible terrain. On top of this simple base, Broforce adds more than 30 playable characters to the team, each with unique primary and specialty weapons, as well as a variety of melee attacks that range from Rambro's standard combat knife to Brodell Walker's roundhouse kicks. The sheer variety of attacks and approaches that can be taken is refreshing, though having to experience these at random can be frustrating. Rescuing POWs to unlock new bros only to use other bros as soon as you rescue more prisoners can be annoying, especially when you want to learn the nuances of certain characters. With that said, I don't think I came across a bro that I didn't like. The thinly veiled parodies of action heroes from the 80s, 90s, and even modern times are all entertaining to use, and having your character randomized at certain points definitely keeps things interesting. But for those looking to gain a better understanding of certain characters, the main campaign also features some covert missions that pit specific characters against challenges that suit them, such as Ellen Ripbro's mission to exterminate the alien hive, or Time Bro's race to escape an exploding enemy installation. Broforce also offers a few boss fights here and there to keep the run and gun gameplay from becoming too stale. These range from cyborgs that can only be defeated by ring out, stealth tanks, air fortresses, and even the devil himself. These provide a solid challenge, especially considering the number of lives you're allowed and the random nature of bro selection. I think what impresses me most about Broforce is the ridiculous attention to detail which is belied by its simple appearance. I love the battle cry that Bronin the Barbarian does during his special attack. I love that the heads-up display portrait of Ash Broliums gets covered in blood as you use his chainsaw. And I love that Brolander starts off as the weakest bro available, but as you decapitate more enemies you gain more power. The only real downside to Broforce's over-the-top action is that the game's performance takes more than a few hits. The frame rate all but dies completely in some of the more hectic sequences, and after starting a level or respawning, your inputs momentarily stop working. The massive frame rate drops I can handle, as it only happens in extreme circumstances, but the input issue can lead to frustrating, avoidable deaths. At the end of the day, Broforce is a simple yet stellar premise that began with a satisfying core and expanded far past anyone could have expected. It features fun and fast gameplay that feels super satisfying to progress through, and it provides you with a surprising number of awesome action heroes to obliterate your enemies with. Yes, the randomization of playable heroes makes learning their skills or playing as favorites a bit frustrating, but when almost all of the bros on offer are a great deal of fun to use, it's hard to get annoyed by the system. Broforce gets the Top Hat Gamer rating of excellent. Surprising no one, a game that was on my top 10 list for 2014 in its early access form not only holds up well, but has improved immensely from its bare-bones pre-release version. More characters, greater variety in attacks, new bosses, new enemies, and the implementation of a full-blown campaign makes Broforce worth far more than it ever was previously. If you're looking for a fun time, or if you really like action movies and meat-headed patriotic bravado, then Broforce is right up your alley. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the review informative. If you missed last week's review on Unravel, click the annotation. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to spread democracy across the world whether the world wants it or not.